Hello, it's 9 p.m. Welcome to our English news edition brought to you live by RTD channel. Here are the top stories. The opening of the second edition of the tournament of the Ramadan. The United Nations sanctioning North Korea. That was the headlines, and now to the national news. The head of state, His Excellency Anglais, sent today, Saturday, a message of congratulations to the President of the Italian Republic, Mr. Sergio Mattarella, including the country celebrating the anniversary of its National Day. In his message, the President of the Republic has formed the wish of health and happiness to Mr. Mattarella, as well as greater prosperity and more vitality to the people of Italy and France. May God assist the Italian nation friend to continue the work largely accomplished to its development, wrote the President Anglais, welcoming the quality of the partnership that Italy maintains with our country in a significant numbers of areas. Be sure, Mr. Speaker, that you will always find with the government and the people of Djibouti all the assistance necessary to the strengthening of relations of two countries, cooperation between our two nations, he then noted the President. A similar message was sent in the same day today from the Italian Prime Minister, Mr. Paolo Gentiloni.
After the regions, the reading of Djibouti have organized this week the final test of the 20th edition of the competition challenge reading. The finals of the school annex was held at the School of the Republic is Post, respectively Annex 1, 2 and 3, and so the victory of the School Annex 4 of Belbela on the School of the Republic on the score of 54 to 44, and Annex 3 took the third place. For Djibouti 3, the final at opposite the School of Barwako 2 and BB 3, and victory is income to the School of Belbela 3 for this, which is of the Djibouti for the final. So the confrontation of the School of Hoden north to the School of Bika Kato 40 and the School of Bika 40 has now this 12th edition of the competition challenge reading 2017 for the reading of Djibouti 4. For recall, each constitution has organized its own competition among its schools within its competence this year, and each school the tests have oversight the students of grades of 5 years of the school. Please note that this competition of reading has just wrapped up a work of preparation of the long term for the students and their tenures in each reading. It is therefore a challenge put for public and for their tenures who invest in the preparation and the reading and understanding of the works proposed to the test. More generally, this competition is part of the framework of the improvement of the quality of teaching, learning, and aims the promotion of access to the book and development of tests of reading among the students.
And now, under the aegis of the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, the CDC PK 12 has housed the Thursday evening the opening of the second edition of the tournament of the Ramadan. The event was held in the presence of the Director of Sport, Mr. Shridan Khairi, of the Director of the CDC, Mr. Hassan Pasha, and as well as the leader of the neighborhood. Once again this year, the atmosphere was to the appointment a public amazed by the wonderful fighting and demonstration that they were presented. This tournament allows not only to evaluate the grade of each Dakaitoru, but also an occasion to hold the links between the different clubs that constitute the family Dakaitoru. To the remainder of the tournament will be held throughout the blessed months of Ramadan.
The National Union of Djiboutian Women, in cooperation with the Agency in Djibouti on Social Development and the African Development Bank, has organized in the town of Arta an awareness workshop on the equality of the Chinese family planning and the violence done to women, as well as the fight against female genital mutilation. This awareness workshop was held at the headquarters of the Regional Council of Arta in the presence of a representative of the National Union of the Women of Djibouti and the Agency for Social Development (ADDC), the local authorities, as well as a dozen of women and of the representative of the civil society. During this meeting of awareness, participants discussed with the facilitators of the subject dealt with in the workshop, which aims to raise awareness in the community on the equality of the sex and family planning and the violence against women on the table of the female circumcision. The participants in the workshop expressed their appreciation on the National Union of the Women of Djibouti to organize this workshop, which fell within the framework of the awareness activities organized periodically by the Union.
Still on the national news, like the capital and the region of the south, the rains of season have watered the region of Tadjoura last week. The rush have been very pronounced in the back countries, including on the sector of Dora, Musali, and also Dadalu. To cause of flooding of Wadi, the gendarmerie has to manage the passage of cars on the passages of the wadis between Dora and Tadjoura. The Prefect Abdul Malik and the President of the Council Omar Hussein have framed the situation on the road Tadjoura-Balho. The arrival of the rains is a proof of oxygen for the population of the region, which suffer more from the drought in this season of the beginning of summer. After the rain, the water will be available without making a long journey, as it is eating habits in this region is receding, and the transhumance period will start for the nomads who are going to make in mass toward Dora to feed livestock. For the authorities of the sector, which Abdullah Kamil and also the elected Ali Dini, the rain of the season called Sugum is arrival in good time and will have a positive impact on the life of the nomadic population. With the water from the rains of season, the trees will bloom and the forest will be abandoned in the plain of Duda, meadows of Dora, which will result in a massive transhumance of livestock in all localities in the region of Tadjoura.
Still on the rain in the region of Tadjoura service, water has had a positive impact in the sectors of Dora, or within some time. The appearance of many trail pit of occasion meadow of Dora. This work for the realization of this woody space, which is the pride of the entire population of Dora, have begun in 2030 and have been executed on the threshold of the spreading of the outer Kalu by the project management unit of the Ministry of Agriculture. The floods of the Wadi of Kalu flooding the threshold that has fostered the reforestation of 50 hectares with the space of occasion which did not exist before. The season of Sukum will also be very favorable for this small drill that the entire population of Dora appreciated for its shade and this further. The population of Dora has also participated in the achievement by involving itself in the monitoring to improve the vegetable and animal biodiversity. For the women of Dora, this small trail out of earth through the Department of Agriculture is a large utility with the possibility of practicing the work of basketry in the shadow. They also benefit from the microclimate space as the strong heat during the months of Ramadan.
And now, in the framework of the fight against the illicit traffic in smuggling goods, the Brigade of Customs, in close collaboration with the Battalion Inter-Army of the region of Ali Sabih and the police, have intercepted in the day of the 1st June 2017 a quantity of the bags of cat smuggling. This operation of large has more duration time of pursuit. Race in the mountains have been entered in these businesses, a commodity of cat composed of 14 packages. The smugglers wanted to route in a quantity in the city of Ali Sabih. According to the standard procedures enforced, this quantity has been destroyed by the presence of the leader of the Brigade of Customs Ali Sabih, Mr. Idris Ahmed Bulhan. And now, moving to the international news, there has been a meeting of mind between China and European leaders following the Brussels summit. There are still disagreements over WTO rules, but position narrowed on still overcapacity and what to do about North Korea's missile test. China's position is consistent. We are firmly committed to the denuclearization of the peninsula and opposed to nuclear tests and missile launch by North Korea, told Li Jinping to the joint news conferences. Feeling assured by the European Council President Donald Tusk, today he said, "We are stepping up our cooperation on climate change with China," which means that today China and Europe have demonstrated solidarity with future generations and responsibility for the whole planet. We are convinced, he continued to say, that the decision by the US to leave the Paris Agreement is a big mistake. Both sides are expected to renew their commitment to the Paris Climate Agreement. That's it for tonight's news, and thanks for watching us, and have a wonderful evening.